Hi guys, this is Simeon from Swedish Homestead. I think it is time that I give you guys an update on the garden, how it's growing and how it's going. So as you guys can see here, I am standing at a garden spot here where there are wood chips, and you can also see, if I dig a little deeper, that there is mainly compost, but a few leftovers from straw and silage, and as always the weeds come out really easily. And right here what you have is asparagus. We have a little asparagus. We actually planted several thousand plants of asparagus some time ago. This was one of our biggest mistakes, the way we did it. One of my biggest mistakes, I should say. But maybe I find the time to share that another day. But we covered some of it, and the asparagus is growing fine. But one thing that we realized is that the thick cover on the asparagus, it takes a long time for the heat to get to the asparagus, warm up the soil, so it'll start growing in the spring. So when other people have asparagus, ours is still quite cool, insulated under the cover. But we have a lot of asparagus growing here. We have been eating it now for a couple weeks, and it's absolutely delicious.
Okay, now Papa.
Bye.
Sprinkles.
So here behind me, we have the combination of a kitchen garden and a little bit of a market garden. We sell a little bit of the produce here. Let me walk you through the rows and show you what's happening so far. So right here you can see the first results of the cedar. These are radishes coming up, and obviously it'll take a little longer for me to see how this is going. But so far it looks okay. You guys remember that we planted the garlic in rows before we made these garden beds? That's why there are garlic rows all over the place here at different spots. Here we have planted root celery to make amazing soups, stock, fond, all that stuff. Here is an entire garden bed just with onions. Beside this garlic row, we planted some kohlrabi. Then we have a few kale plants here. And here we have some lettuce. We have harvested some already, even though it was quite small. We couldn't wait. We really wanted to eat some. And we're going to start planting in the gaps now already. And in a couple weeks, we're going to sell a whole bunch of these lettuce heads already. Then you see here, you have garlic, and next to it, these are not tiny garlics, but those are leeks that we planted several inch deep into the ground, so they will have a nice white base, and they're growing really well. They only came out this much from the ground when we planted them. And then here you have normal celery. Here's some iceberg lettuce. They're also coming really nice. You guys remember when I planted them, it took them a while to get started, but now they are actually coming along really nicely, I think. Our rhubarb over here is just exploding, huge, gigantic. This, I have no idea what it's called in English. It's called svartrot. In Swedish, by the time I will edit this video, I will have looked it up and put the English name right in the video, as you can see here. But they will go into seed and produce some seeds. Here we have a zucchini plant that we transplanted that now has to start growing. And here you can see where we seeded, and one of our cows, the little calf, actually walked through the garden. Quite annoying, but that's what happened. So here we are in the orchard, and as you can see, there are onions all over the place coming up here. Really looking forward to see how these onions will grow here. It's a really nice amount and no weeds. I love this kind of growing. I wish I would have a huge amount of wood chips where it could just cover a whole field 40 centimeters thick 1.5 feet thick, and put the chickens on there, and then grow vegetables in there a couple years later. Here you have the garlic coming up really nicely. You see, standing nice and tall, and in a couple of weeks we will start selling this as fresh garlic already. You can just pull them straight out of the ground and chop them up like you would with a green onion or a leek. So in a couple of weeks from now, we're putting out an ad, and tonight we will deliver vegetables together with our eggs. So you guys just heard me talk about it a little bit, about us selling these vegetables. A lot of people have asked, how do we do that? How do we sell our produce? Well, right here, let me turn the camera real quick. You see this little building right there. We call it Sweden's smallest farm store. It kind of looks like an outhouse, even though it's not. But that's where we put a little bit of produce in, mainly eggs. People can come, take the eggs, leave the money. Works great. We have had a couple times in the last 3 years where there has been too little money, but just because of a misunderstanding. So that works great out here. But our main profit we make in the city, there's something called Ring, and that is started as it originally comes from Finland, but it basically is a Facebook group where all the producers can write a post where they give a description of their farm, their produce, and then they say what they have for sale, and then all the other people come in, the consumers, the customers, and they can look through all the posts, through all the ads of the producers, and purchase everything on Facebook simply by writing a comment or a post. So all business is done beforehand, and then you have a half-hour to 1 hour window every 2 weeks or every month where you drive and you just hand over the produce. You can have it arranged that the people pay up front before you even go there. Then it doesn't matter if they don't show up, or you just take paid when they come and pick up the produce. This is great because it's a completely different deal than selling on a farmer's market where you have to stand all day long. You have no idea how much you're going to sell, how much you will have to take home with yourself, how much you will have to bring. This is awesome. Now, in case one of you guys is interested in starting something like that, let me just give you a little more detail. It is a closed group on Facebook. The reason for that being, it's being managed by a couple people. And if there are people that order stuff, don't show up, if this happens a couple times, you can report them, and then they can be put out of the group. And also if people start, posting, hey, I have, shoes for sale or whatever, then they are going to be put out of the group. This is strictly for local produce, and it's absolutely amazing. It has worked fantastically. Actually, the city where we deliver to, one of the cities, within a couple months, it grew to the largest group like that on Facebook out of all of Sweden, even though the city is only 50,000 people. So this is quite fascinating, and that's how we haven't been able to meet demand. Yes?
Can we play with this sprinkle?
Play with what?
The sprinkle, we can do it tomorrow.
No, not today. It's not warm enough. Let me finish the video real quick. Anyways, with this whole thing, we haven't been able to meet demand because as soon as you write an ad, we have several thousand people looking at it, and we have sold out within a few hours. Every time we've put out an ad, we could have had probably 10 times more chickens, to be honest. And there are at least 5 or 6 of these groups in our close reach, an hour from us, where we could sell so much. People have contacted us and asked, do you want to be part? Can you produce X? And all of that. So we're trying to raise more chickens and all of that to meet demand. And now the vegetable season is starting. So that's very exciting. For many farmers, marketing is the issue. These groups are a gift from heaven because they work so great. And they're great people administrating them. They really have a passion for locally produced food, and they have a passion to kind of cut this supermarket addiction that many people have. And we can't blame the people for it, because often there are no alternatives, and this is, to me, for the first time, a really good competition, a good alternative for people to do this. So I hope you enjoyed this update, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you next week. Thanks and bye-bye.